Hello everyone and welcome to kdeNeon demo. So kdeNeon is a fairly new distribution. However, they don't consider it necessarily a distribution. Unlike most distributions, take Ubuntu, Linux Mint, Fedora, all of those distributions are pretty much set up in a manner where they install specific software sets for you. Basically, kdeNeon is pretty much a stripped down version. It's just got the very basics, and I think if I remember reading correctly, it calls it more like a Windows manager, just a Windows manager running than an actual distribution. So here on the kdeNeon website, it's solid core latest features. So it's based off of Ubuntu using stable Ubuntu long-term release as its core. However, for KDE, it keeps the most current KDE software refreshed. So what this means is it's pretty much going to have the most recent and updated KDE. So right now we're on KDE Plasma 5.8.1 is the most recent release. This distribution is going to have it first because this distribution is kind of created by the people who do KDE. So if you see up here, you got KDE. If you click on the community, you will actually go to the actual KDE community, KDE forum, KDE. So Neon is kind of the distribution put together by the KDE team. Let's see. They have 3 different editions. They have the just user edition and they have developers edition. So they have developers edition and then they have developers edition unstable. So they have a stable and an unstable version of the developers edition. If you want the most bleeding edge, most up-to-date software, then the developers unstable edition is going to have that. Which, if you're using it just for a regular system, if you're not a developer, if you don't develop at all, then there's the base user package, which is going to be everything that you need. If you're a developer that wants a stable desktop, wants a stable system, the developer's edition stable will be yours. But if you like just having all of the unstable, all of the stuff that's coming out, then there's the unstable version. So for the FAQs, what is kdeNeon? It's rapidly updating software repositories. KDE contributors and testers can use the packages built from KDE Git. It uses the foundation of the latest Ubuntu long-term 16.04. It's not the KDE distro, even though it's primarily developed by KDE. It's not the KDE distro. KDE believes it's important to work with many distributions and each brings unique value and expertise for their respective users. It's always more reliable to do a fresh install when you're doing. It's not quite a distro like I was talking about a minute ago. It's a package archive with the latest KDE software on top of a stable base. So Ubuntu is the stable base and the latest KDE. So it's kind of semi-rolling. So the base that it's built upon isn't rolling, but the KDE software on top of it is rolling. So if you take Fedora, for example, if you watch my other videos, you know I'm a big fan of Fedora as well. So Fedora right now, until they release Fedora 25, is on 5.7.5, I believe, is its distro. Whenever 25 comes out, at this current point in time, it's set up to, after you do your updates, 5.8.0. However, kdeNeon is already at 5.8.1, which is the most current. Difference between kdeNeon and using plain Ubuntu. kdeNeon will provide users with a more up-to-date packages of cute and cutting-edge KDE. Why Ubuntu? The KDE team feels that that the Ubuntu is a nice, stable, and they've been working with Ubuntu for a long time. Now, I believe it's Jonathan Riddle, who used to be a big supporter up in the Kubuntu, working on Kubuntu. I think he, if I remember correctly, he kind of separated from Kubuntu, and I could be wrong, and kind of just started doing more KDE type stuff, and then kdeNeon came out from this. Can I turn Kubuntu into... Should probably lower the volume on that. Can I turn the Kubuntu into kdeNeon with a PPA? They recommend doing a fresh install of Neon, but you can add an apt repository that will switch Kubuntu to kdeNeon. Is kdeNeon an add-on to Kubuntu? It sits on top of the Ubuntu core foundation and means the majority of software built for Ubuntu will work fine even when not explicitly supported by the kdeNeon team. So there's going to be software that the kdeNeon team hasn't quite made or hasn't done anything special with. But it works in Ubuntu, so it's going to work on this. Can I use a desktop other than Plasma? It probably won't work and probably won't even install. Let's see, kdeNeon 64-bit only. So it's 64-bit, but it still has the 32-bit library. So if you've ever used Chaos, Chaos is 64-bit only. So it doesn't even have libraries of 32-bit, but kdeNeon does. So it just doesn't have a 32-bit primary. So if you still have a 32-bit computer with a 32-bit processor, then there's not going to be a release client for you. And what is KDE? KDE is my personal favorite desktop. It's the desktop that I got going on here. You know, there's GNOME, there's KDE, and that's that for that. So we're going to go ahead and go into the Info Center. Take a look here. So KDE Plasma version is 5.8.1, and as far as I know, that's the most recent, completely most recent that is out right now. KDE Frameworks is version 5.28.0. Qt version is 5.7. The kernel version is 4.4, so they're kind of back a little bit on the kernels, but they're up forward on the KDE Frameworks itself. And 64-bit operating system, and then my hardware. So if you watch my Fedora video, then when I looked at KDE Plasma, it was 5.75 until I updated. After I updated, it went to 5.8.0. The KDE Frameworks on Fedora was 5.27, and this was Fedora 25 beta. And I believe the Qt version was 5.7 as well, and then the kernel version was 4.8. So kdeNeon pushes to the most recent for the Plasma and for the KDE Frameworks and the Qt version, but it stayed back a little bit on the kernel version versus Fedora. So we're going to run through and take a look at all the programs that come automatically on here. So first you'll notice here's the wallpaper, and it's the only wallpaper that's installed by default. You'll have to install whatever other wallpapers you want. If we go now, I've changed a few things. I already did the updates. I installed my screencaster, Voco Screen. I installed Audacity for audio, and Yakuwake for my drop-down terminal. I believe that's all, and also Chrome. I installed the Chrome browser. I believe that's everything that I personally installed on here once I started getting it running, so we'll see that everything else is stock. So originally, whenever you start this, the launcher is actually automatically set as the application launcher. I change it to the application menu, 1, because I prefer it, and 2, because it's easier to go through and show you all the apps that way. So go to Chrome apps is only here because I downloaded Chrome, installed Chrome. Graphics, the only thing in there is GwenView. Internet, the only thing that was in here was Firefox. I personally installed Chrome. Multimedia, the only thing that was in here was VLC. Settings, system settings was the only thing in here. System, Discover, Dolphin, Info Center, Console, KSysGuard, KWallet Manager, those were the only things in here, and I installed the drop-down menu, or drop-down console. Utilities, Arc was already in here, KWrite was already in here, Spectacle was already in here, and then just your power menu. So as you can see, this distribution comes with pretty much none of the extra bells and whistles. So you really have a environment that you can customize to your liking. So for example, sometimes you'll get one that'll have the Dragon Player, and I personally don't like Dragon Player. I usually uninstall it and install VLC. Usually they'll come with KML. I usually uninstall KML and then install whatever email client I'm using at the time. I'm kind of an email client hopper. Sometimes I'll use Thunderbird, sometimes I'll use KML. If I'm on a GNOME distribution, sometimes I'll use Evolution. I've used Nihilus for a while. I've used Gary for a while. But with this being so stripped down, you can have it having only the things that you want and not have all the extra junk that comes with other distributions. So it's a nice, clean distribution. Most everything else works pretty much how it does on any other distribution. If we go into settings, workspace themes, it's got the looks and feel, and then it also has where you can get new looks. So this is new with 5.8 is the fact that you can actually install look and feel, which we'll go ahead and install. We'll just install all of them just for good measure. And installing. One more. Come on. Alright, maybe we'll skip that one. So now we have all of them except for one. So it also has use desktop layout from theme. So if the look and feel theme has a certain layout on the desktop, so for example, if the menu bar, or I'm sorry, the panel at the bottom was at the top when they created the theme and packaged it, I think it would automatically display that way. So we're going to go ahead and click on Papyrus, hit use desktop layout from theme, and hit apply and see what happens. And it should take just a little bit because it's supposed to be pretty much resetting your entire look and feel of your system. So your desktop theme, your cursor, your splash, everything should be kind of updating to this one. It's kind of looking like it froze. Okay. Okay, so we'll go into system settings again, and we'll try it without using the desktop layout. We'll just go ahead and pick that and apply it and see if we have the same issue. So we didn't have the same issue, but it doesn't look like it updated anything though to the look and feel theme. Yeah, we'll go ahead and click Breeze Dark or Arc Dark because we'll be able to see whether or not that changed. So we'll apply Arc Dark. So it updated it, but it doesn't look like anything changed. Yeah, so maybe they're still working on this. Not 100% sure. Desktop theme is normal. Cursor theme, splash screen, all of that's normal. Actually, yep, all of that's just the normal. Colors normal. Icons is normal. Application styles just like it normally is. Let's see. Startup and shutdown. SDDM. So on the SDDM, it looks like you can kind of mess around with the look of the login screen. So this is the new login screen. This is what it looks like now when you sign on versus what it looked like before 5.8. So they kind of cleaned it up, made it a little bit more user friendly, a little bit more pretty. You can change the background on here, load from a file, whatever file you want, and hit apply, and it will apply to the login screen. Let's see, account details, all of this stuff is what you normally would have. Network, hardware, and so nothing in here looks like it's changed except for just the look and feel from this right here. So that's it for system settings. So realistically, you have a very, very stripped down new KDE that you can customize however you want to. And from what I've been experimenting with it, it's really stable. Other than the look and feel bug that we just saw a minute ago, I haven't seen any other issues with this. I was using it for about a week or so, a little bit before I went and checked out the Fedora Beta 25. But yeah, KDE Neon, it's new. It's going to give you the most updated Qt and KDE software, and it's not going to give you a lot of the extra junk that typically comes with the distro. So thank you guys.